Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Dead with Dave. If you haven't figured it out already, this is a Halloween show. We talk about anything Halloween or horror related. Today, we're going to start with home haunts. I wanted to show you guys something that I thought was pretty cool. There's a guy that goes by the name Denver Geo7 here on YouTube. He does a home haunt out in Denver, Colorado called Horror in the Highlands. Now, from what I've seen of the haunt, it seems very cool, very awesome haunt. But that's not what I want to focus on this segment. Every year for the past 3 years, he's put together a video Halloween invite to his haunted house. Now, I guess instead of sending out actual paper invites, he's put together videos. And these videos are just out of this world. Now, what I like about these video invites is that they're like little mini movies. They're only about 2 minutes long, so they're not long at all. But they tell an entire story. And he has 3 of them on his YouTube page. And all 3 of them are a completely different theme. Now, let me show you the 2009 video. I think you're going to enjoy it just as much as I did.
Oh, yes. There will be blood. I want to play a game. Live or die. Make your choice.
Now, the reason these videos really struck me as something unique is because I used to do a Halloween party. I used to do a Halloween party every year. Before I called my haunt Pandemic Cemetery, it used to be called the Metuchen Slaughterhouse. But for that party, I used to try to figure out the most unique ways to send out the invitations to my family and friends. And, it starts off with the paper and, with the burnt edges. And then next year you pour a little blood on it. Well, eventually it turned into me sending severed body parts in the mail. But I really like the video invitation even more. It sets a mood. It sets a tone. And it tells a story. And that's why I really enjoyed these. Like I said, go check out the rest of them. He has 3 other ones up there. There's 2 other 2010, 2011 invites, and then there's a save the date invite. I think that's for the 2011 one. I'm not sure. He also has a very awesome prop. He's called the Meat Grinder. Go check that out. It's definitely worth a watch. I love that prop. It's worth a segment here on the show. Actually, you know what? Screw it. Take a look at the meat grinder. It's an awesome prop. I gotta show it. You see what I'm saying? It's just an awesome prop. I love that thing. But definitely go over his channel, see the rest of his videos. His real name is Rick. And Rick, to you, my man, I'm looking forward to seeing a 2012 invite. I wish you lived closer to me. Denver's not close at all, so there's no way I can actually get out there. But I would love to see the invite anyway. And keep on haunting. Last time on Dead with Dave, we started the 2-bar lift mechanism build. Now this is a 3-episode build, so if you haven't seen part 1 yet, please go back to episode 9 and watch that first. This is going to be part 2. Then we're going to go on to part 3 on the next episode of Dead with Dave. Now the first thing we're going to do today, we're going to drill the holes into our bars that are going to make for the lift mechanism. What I'm going to do now is just laying out the holes first. Since I have everything drawn up, I know exactly where my holes are going to be. So I'm just going to mark them off, and I'm going to center punch them to make it easier for me to drill a nice, straight, clean hole. Now the reason for using a center punch is quite simple. You need that dimple in your material so that your drill bit doesn't walk off when you start drilling. Especially when you want your dimensions to be very, very accurate like we want here. Even if your drill bit walks off only a 1/16 of an inch, you can cause some severe binding in your mechanism when it tries to move up and down. So using a center punch is a quick way to ensure that your hole starts exactly where you want it to start. So you see I'm just marking off to what my drawings tell me to do. And using my center punch, making a nice clean center, nice and deep, so I have somewhere for my drill to follow. I also like to mark all my pieces with the appropriate letter for where my drawings are. This is something I pick up at work, just so you don't lose track of what's what. It makes for easier assembly later. Now, it might have been easier for me to mark off and drill these holes in my main frame before I welded it all together. But I was too lazy at the time, so now I'm doing it now. But you could easily have done all this before you welded it together. Or bolted it together if you don't have a welder. Now, this is just a quick description of the hardware we're using. This is just simple 3/8/16 hex bolts, 3 inches long. This is going to attach all the riser arms. And this hardware is quarter 20. This is going to be used to attach the pneumatic cylinder. I also have drawn up the hardware used to attach the frame together if you're not welding it. Now, I'm not going to use a drill press at this time. I'm just going to use a regular hand drill, just to show you that you don't need a drill press to do any of this. A drill press does make it a lot easier because you're guaranteed a nice straight hole. But I want to show you that you can use a hand drill, but you have to take certain precautions and make sure you're drilling perfectly straight. If the hole is crooked, you're going to have a lift mechanism that binds up on you, and you don't want any binding. You want smooth movement. So it's very important to double check and drill your holes perfectly straight. It does help to have a nice charged battery while doing this. So luckily I always have a second one on hand, so I'll never stop from what I'm doing. And like I said in the first video, it's always very important to clamp your work. It makes it for a lot easier to get straight holes, and you're not going to worry about the parts moving around on you or kicking around on you and getting physically injured, because nobody wants to get hurt while making Halloween props. Now after we're done drilling all the 3/8 diameter holes, those are for the 3/8 bolts to attach the arms to the main frame. We have to drill one hole 1/4 inch diameter for our 1/4 bolt to go through to attach our pneumatic cylinder. Now, like I do with everything, make sure you deburr your holes. I have a little small countersink in here that goes and takes the burr away. This is going to make for a lot cleaner and smoother movement later, and also have no problems in putting your bolts through. Now it's time to do our dry fit. And it's very important to dry fit everything together before your final assembly. This is just to make sure that everything is moving properly and moving easily. Now I'm only hand tightening all the bolts together. I'm just looking for movement. Now you want to feel for a nice, clean, smooth movement with absolutely no binding, and you want to make sure to go straight up and down. Now after you're confident that it's working properly and smoothly, this is a great time to make your final marks for where you're going to mount your pneumatic cylinder. Every cylinder manufacturer out there has a slightly different standard to what their cylinder should be, and also depending on the mounting hardware that you use, it is almost impossible to predetermine where your mounting holes are going to be unless you have the actual cylinder in hand. So I figure the best way to do it is just to put everything together and then mount the cylinder and then see where the best position would be at the bottom, mark your holes, and then center punch like usual. Now this pneumatic cylinder we're using is actually from fightprops.com. It's a 3/4 bore, 6-inch stroke, double-acting universal mount cylinder. It has a spherical rod end on the end so we can get a nice, clean, smooth movement. As you can see, I'm just marking where I think the best position for my holes will be. You just don't want to go too low that the mechanism bottoms out, and you don't want to go too high where it overextends itself. After you know everything is together properly, you got to take it all apart. So we can drill the final holes for the base and then get it ready for paint. Now, if you had welded your frame together like I have, this part could be a little difficult because you're actually drilling through part of the weld for the main riser bar, which is absolutely okay. You just have to take your time and make sure you're drilling straight like usual. Again, you just want to do a quick dry fit to make sure that the holes line up with the bottom of the foot bracket. It's a lot easier now to fix any slight problems than it is after you paint the entire project. And since everything looks fine, I'm going to take it back apart and get it all ready for paint. Now, I'm not going to get into some great detail on how to spray paint something. We all know how to spray paint. But what I want to do is give you some pointers on how to paint mild steel tubing. Now, number one, you're going to have to clean the tubing. It's going to come with a coating of oil on it, which keeps it from rusting. So before you paint, you're going to have to clean all that oil off. Now another thing you want to focus on is inside the tubes, because even if you give the greatest paint job in the world on the outside, it will rust from the inside. Also, you want to focus on your mounting holes where this hardware actually goes through. You want to paint all around them too, and make sure you get very, very good coverage, because the last place you want this to start rusting is where your mechanism is moving. You don't want that to bind up in future years to come. Now I always do 2 coats of paint. I always let the first coat of paint dry like 10-15 minutes, then go back over it with the second coat. And again, make sure you get deep inside those tubes so it don't start to rust from the inside out. So that's it. It's all painted. I'm going to let this dry overnight and then I'll start putting it together. But you're going to have to wait for the next show to see that. Well, I hope you're able to follow along. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below, and I'll answer them in the very next episode. Next time, we're going to put it all together. We're going to hook it up to its valves and run all the pneumatic lines. We're going to hook it up to its controller, and we're going to do some test runs. Maybe I'll put it behind a tombstone or something to really get it in action for you. Put it behind some lights and some smoke. Really show you what it can do. I think it'll be fun, so keep an eye out for that on the very next episode of Dead with Dave. I wanted to do a real quick haunt news. Next weekend, May 5th, I'm going to be at the National Haunters Convention in Pennsylvania. Just going there to see what they have. It's in a new location this year, so I'm pretty excited to see what's new and improved. And also here they have 2 haunted houses on premise, which I am looking forward to checking out. Now, the National Haunters Convention is nowhere near the size of Trans World or West Coast Haunters Convention. And I'm fully aware of that going in, so I'm not really trying to get my expectations for that level of expo, which is absolutely fine. I'm actually looking forward to a smaller show, just going there and hanging out. I believe there's going to be a lot of home haunters there. This type of show, the smaller shows, have a lot of home haunters that attend. And it's always nice to meet any home haunter there. So if you are going to the National Haunters Convention, please send me an email. Leave it in the comments down below. Tell me that you're going. We'll meet up there, say hi. I'm going to be with a group of home haunters as it is now, so please come by. You're going to see me. I'm going to be around somewhere. So just look for the Dead with Dave t-shirt, and you'll find me there. So definitely tell me. I would love to meet up with anybody that I can possibly meet up with. Also, while I'm there, I'm going to be taking a whole bunch of video footage so I can put it here on the show. So all of you that are not able to go to the National Haunters Convention will be able to see what it's like there and what you can find and what you can buy and what you can't buy. So look for that, not in the next episode, but maybe the episode after that. I'll put a segment together just for National Haunters Convention. I'm not going to do a whole show dedicated like I did at Transworld, but I'm going to put a section just for that. Like I said, it's going to be an awesome time. I'm really looking forward to going. And I'm really looking forward to meeting any of you that are going too. Hope to see you there. I want to thank you all for watching. We have so much to get to in the next couple of episodes of Dead with Dave that I don't know where I'm going to squeeze it all in. I still have the Hotwire Foam Factory review to do. I still have to finish the 2-bar lift mechanism. We got National Haunters Convention that's coming up that I have to put a segment on for. I just got back from Chiller Horror Convention in Parsippany, New Jersey, which was really cool. Got a lot of video footage of that, which I want to put on. I got so much to do, so little time, space to do it, because I don't want these shows going on for hours. So I'm going to get all that edited together and put it on for you. So keep an eye out for those episodes that are coming out. Until then, this has been Dead with Dave. Good night.
star.